behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom we've been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Thank you, Senator Sifuna. Even though we had started our meeting, we have already dispensed with some of the matters on the agenda, but formally we need to adopt the agenda. Our agenda today is to consider the status report on actions taken by Kisii County Executive to address and resolve issues raised in the Auditor General's report on the financial statements of County Executive of Kisii and the receipt of revenue for the financial years 2023-2024. That's the main business. The brief we have already dispensed with. Could I get a proposer for the agenda?
Chair, I propose.
Thank you, Senator Mogeni. Seconder?
Chair, I second.
Thank you, Senator Sifuna. Next, we'll quickly introduce ourselves just for record and Hansard purposes, starting with the senators present.
Please, Chair, my name is Okongo Mogeni, Senator of Nyamira and a member of this committee.
My name is Richard Onyonka, a friend of the committee, Senator from Kisii County.
Good afternoon, Governor, the team from Kisii. My name is Edwin Sifuna, Senator Nairobi, member of this committee. Welcome to Nairobi.
And I am Jones Maruma, Senator representing Taita Taveta, Vice Chair to this committee.
I'm Lelego Tumbesi, Senator for Samburu County and member of the committee.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Enoch Wambua, Senator Kitui, a member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Governor, and welcome. Cherargei, Senator of the Republic of Kenya from Nandi County, and a member of this committee.
And Moses Otieno Kajuan, Senator from Homa Bay. I chair the committee. Clerks?
Thank you, Chair. My name is Kibet Kevin, Committee Clerk. With your permission, other members of the Secretariat can introduce themselves.
Good morning, Chair and members. Malcolm Gogi, Legal Counsel.
Good afternoon. My name is Shirley Milemo, Hansard Officer.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Salat Hussein, Fiscal Analyst, DPO.
Good afternoon, Brandon Duke, Atachi.
Good afternoon, through the chair, Kamau Kelvin, Legal Attachee.
Good afternoon, Chair. John Chege, Sergeant at Arms.
That's all from us, Chair. Thank you.
You're welcome, OAG.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. I'm Muriuki Patrick, Liaison Officer, OAG.
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. My name is Dr. Simon Abosu, Director of Audit from the Office of Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair and honorable senators. My name is Anthony Muriuki, Auditor from Homa Bay Regional Office.
Chairman, that's all.
Oh, Karibuni, Treasury, National Treasury.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Edith Nkanata from the National Treasury.
You're welcome. Controller of Budget.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Gilbert Gachanja from the Office of Control of Budget and officer attached to this committee.
Karibu, ESCC.
Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members. Patricia Chebet from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
You're all welcome. Clerk, did we invite the County Assembly of Kisii?
Yes, Chair, we did. However, the clerk was not reachable this afternoon on phone. Thank you.
Okay, I hope they have one assembly, but that one the Senator will tell us when we start our proceedings. So next order will be introduction of the Governor and his team.
Chair, thank you. Let me ask my team to introduce themselves.
You should have introduced yourself. At this point, we are still not very sure who's the Governor.
My name is Simbarati, Governor Kisii, Chair.
Okay. The rest of the team can go on record.
Good evening, Chair. My name is Kenneth Abinja, CC Finance, Kisii County Government. Thank you, Chair.
Alfred Nyandieka, County Attorney, Kisii County.
Thank you, Chair. My name is CPA Antoinette Kanani. I'm the Chief Finance Officer, Kisii County.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Ronald Nyekweba, CC Health Services, Kisii.
Chair, Ivan Skiage from Reporting Unit.
Good evening, Chair. My name is Kiwes Ruben Nyakundi, Public Works, Kisii.
That is it for your delegation. Fine. Next order, administration of oath and tabling of documents.
I, Paul Simbarati, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Table your written responses.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby table the following documents before the committee: management response and accompanying annexures for the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on audited financial statement for the County Executive for the financial year 2023-2024, the management response and accompanying annexures for the report of the Auditor General on audited financial statement, receiver of revenue for the County Executive of the financial year 2023-2024.
Auditor General, have you reviewed the responses and are you ready to guide us?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We have received the responses and the annexures and are ready to proceed with the meeting.
Clerk of the Senate.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we did receive the responses from the Kisii County Executive as prescribed by our letter to Kisii for invitation to this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, so what we are supposed to do today is to find out to what extent you have implemented the recommendations of the Senate as per the motion that was adopted on the 27th of March 2024. The Auditor General made some findings, brought their report to the Senate by 31st of December. The Senate gave you an opportunity to explain the measures that you had taken. I think Kisii did not appear before the committee.
They did, Chair, on 24th of March.
Or Kisii appeared before the committee on 24th of March. And as a result, we were able to write a report which we sent to the Senate on the 27th of March. It is that resolution of the Senate that we shall be considering today. Before this meeting, we had asked the Auditor General to go back and verify whether any of those recommendations have been implemented. Auditor General, give us your overall report on the number of issues, those that have been resolved and those that are outstanding.
Thank you, Chair. Overall, the issues were 52. We were able to do the verification of the responses and the annexures. 4 issues has been addressed. 16 issues partially addressed, and 32 not addressed.
My apologies, OAG. Just restate that.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the summary of the issues, we had 52 issues.
50?
52.
52.
Yeah. 4 issues addressed, 16 issues partially addressed, and 32 not addressed.
So maybe to step back, because I'm looking at the minutes of our last meeting. At our last meeting, there were 64 issues. During the meeting, 8 queries were resolved. 4 were partially addressed and 52 remained unresolved. So we took recommendations to the House on 52 issues. You're saying out of those 52, only 4 have been resolved so far?
Yes, Chair. Only 4 has been addressed.
Could we start by identifying them and maybe we can reduce the number of issues that are before us? Let's first identify the issues that in your view have been resolved. Then we'll go back to the unresolved ones and give directions. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The issue number 10 is about underpayment of staff. The issue has been addressed.
Perhaps it would be useful just to be very brief without necessarily reading everything. Just say what your audit query was and how it has been resolved.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We were able to do the analysis of the payroll, especially for the ECD staff at that time of the audit. They were paid less than 14,000 per month. This is contrary to the amendment order, May 2022. For May, working in terms of the county, that requires that the minimum should be more than 14. So, but when we see the feedback in terms of the responses, we have been given a list of the confirmed officers, especially the ECD, and a sample of the pay slips that indicate that this minimum has gone up. Initially, it was less than 14, but now you can see some of them being paid 15, 16. So that's why we are saying that the issue hasn't been addressed.
Legal, we are asked that you look at that regulation. Is it still at 14 or it's at 16? Did you manage to get it? As he retrieves that, Senator Onyonka, you had an intervention?
Yes, I was just going to mention, Chair, that actually you raised the issue, because I was going to ask Legal to explain to us what does the law require the executive to do in terms of the basic minimum wage that we need to pay anybody who works in the county, whether they are casual laborers or whether they are, what I am now told is something called professional, that kind of thing.
Malcolm, do you have it?
Yes, through the chair, there is the Regulation of Wages General Order. It states that at Regulation 3.1, no person to whom this order applies shall be employed at basic minimum wage less favorable to him than that which is applicable to him under the first or second schedule, having regard to his age and to the circumstances of his employment by reference to columns 2, 3, 4 thereof, and to the nature of his occupation as listed in column 1 thereof, to be determined by reference to the definitions contained in the third schedule. 2, an employer shall ascertain the basic minimum wage to which any person employed by him is entitled under the provisions of this order by reference to the particulars of his birth or apparent age. Through the chair, in this case, there's an entire schedule which sets out the wages of the basic wages, and in column 1, chair, it states that within other areas. Within other areas, this is general laborer, including cleaner, sweeper, gardener, children's hire, house servant, day watchman, and messenger. In column 2, which is Nakuru, Nairobi, Kisumu, and Nakuru cities, this is 15,201 shillings 0.65 cents at a daily rate of 731 and 50 cents. The former municipalities and town councils of Mavoko, Roiro, and Limuru, this would be 14,025 shillings and 40 cents at a daily rate of 672 shillings per day. And in other areas, it is 8,109.90 at a daily rate of 411. Yeah.
That does not seem to be the regulation we referred to when we were dealing with Tharaka-Nithi.
Yes, Chair, from my researches, this is the current, this is the one that is available, the most recent.
That's which year? Regulation 2022 or 2025?
The one of 1982 as revised by Legal Notice 221 of 2023 on 31st December 2022.
2023?
2022, as collected from the Kenya law.
Okay, I think that's for us to establish, but I recall this matter very vividly. Remember when Tharaka were paying some people 6,000 and 9,000, and we read the regulation, and we established that we were below the minimum wage. In fact, but what you have read indicates that counties like Tharaka can pay up to 8,000.
This one would depend with column 3 and 4, the definition of whether Kisii was a former municipality. If so, then the minimum wage would be 14,000. And for other areas would be 8,109.
Fine. Auditor General says that they have seen evidence that these people below minimum wage have been regularized. And these are, Governor, these are ECD teachers. So the lowest paid ECD teacher in Kisii earns?
Chair, the lowest is 25,000.
25,000?
Yes.
So you didn't put them at the 14,000?
No, when I came in, I found that these people, they were being paid 12,000. Therefore, against what they were there for that time, it was prorated. I can see the list is 25,000.
Okay. OAG, you give us the assurance that you have seen those contracts and...
Yes, Chair. We confirm that we have received that and we have confirmed in terms of the minimum.
Okay, we'll come back to a conversation on the wage bill. I think a much broader conversation, and maybe this will be part of those issues that will come up. The next issue that's resolved?
Chair, the second issue which has been resolved is irregular earning of the salary, the county attorney. This one has been addressed. There were court cases going on at that time, but later on, the ruling has been... That's page 11 of the brief, page 11 of 43.
Yeah, this matter was deliberated on extensively at our last meeting. And I think that there was just some documentation, some evidence that was missing.
Yes.
At that point.
Yes. What was missing at that time was the court ruling, which has been appealed by the county. And now they have provided that. And also in terms of the refund of the funds to now the attorney.
So the refund?
Has been done.
Has been done?
Yes.
And you can confirm that, you can give us that assurance?
Yes, Chair, the evidence has been there and judgment of the court has been provided. And also refund of the RTGS has been done as an evidence.
Okay, I remember we spent a lot of time on this at our last meeting, so we'll mark that as resolved. What's the next matter?
Chair, on page 26 of the summary, issue number 30 is about house renovation at the lower Milimani estate. This has also been addressed. We are able to see the letter of the tenancy agreement and the completion certificates.
That's issue number 30.
Yes.
Implementation of a project or
house renovation at lower Milimani estate.
Why is your numbering different from mine? That's 29. House renovation at Lower Milimani Estate.
Page 26 of the summary.
Which document is this? Isn't it this? Oh, okay, so these are our recommendations. Fine. House renovation at Lower Milimani Estate. Letter of offer, completion certificates, inspection and acceptance certificates. You have reviewed those ones?
Yes, yeah, that has been provided and we have reviewed.
But there is an element, and this we must deal with, Governor. What was our recommendation in that column? Clerk, what was our recommendation? Because it was not just provision of documents. There was a recommendation to deal with non-provision of documents. So again, OAG, when you tell us it's closed, make sure that our recommendations have also been complied with. Because there is a part where we are asking for administrative action, and that does not seem to have been demonstrated.
Thank you, Chair. The first recommendation was that the Office of the County Governor undertakes administrative actions against the officers who failed to provide the documents to the auditors in accordance with Section 156 of the PFM Act, and they provide a status update to the committee within 60 days from adoption of the report.
Yeah, so Governor, that's part of what we are doing here. It is not just enough to say that the documents were presented. But it is an offense not to provide documents to the Auditor General during the audit without any valid reason. That's why we directed you to take administrative action. Administrative action could be a warning, could be a reprimand, could be a redeployment, or could be sacking. What have you done to comply with that recommendation of the committee?
Chair, thank you. Apart from actually providing the documentation, first business is that you call these people to explain to us why they had not submitted. But then when they are remorseful that indeed those documents, either they were misplaced and they are provided, you don't take that harsh action to punish them, as it were. Otherwise, the way structure of civil service, you will dismiss every person. You will be at war with every person.
No, administrative action does not mean sacking. When you came here on 24th of March 2025, those documents had still not been provided to the auditor. When the auditor was in Kisii between September and December 2024, the documents had not been provided. So why would you be soft about that? This process has timelines, which you are the governor who brought that matter very clearly before this committee, that the timelines must be respected. You remember the conversation we had. Why should we then be laissez-faire on members of staff who are not complying with the timelines?
Yeah, in addition, so that he can answer both
Senator
the
Zaraki.
indulgence, Governor Section 62 of the Public Audit Act is very clear that non-provision of documentation is violation of the law. So if you say you cannot be harsh or punished under administrative action, it is very unfair to the audit process, because the law in itself cascades from maybe transfer, administrative action, or even a possibility of a litigation. But on this instance, there is a clear violation of the law. And the only way to cure the law is to ensure there is a legal redress to that aspect. So our question is on these officers on non-provision of documentation. Has there been any action? Before even you fire, before you fire, there are many other mechanisms you can use. Before even firing, the firing should be the last stage. So why have you not complied with? Or should we punish you so that you can punish the rest? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, out of the discussion we had in the last meeting, and I'm up that the OAG, they're here, and I'm sure they have done the audit. Out of the reprimand that we had pulled before these people, they must have provided documentation, even for the going forward. But again, I'm not very sure. There must have a number of those transfers we're talking about that could be there, but I'm not sure. But the only thing I'm sure, after I read the riot gear, for sure, I'm sure that going forward, documentation has been provided on time to the auditors.
Chair, on a point of order, what do you mean, Governor? You read a riot act to your officers or to AAG, and is your county secretary here? Why is he not here, Chair? And it is through the correspondence between you, between your office, the official is the county secretary. And I thought, Governor, in any instance as the governor of Kisii, and you know you are my good friend, that everything should be written. Because if you said you read a riot act, maybe when you are walking out, you just read a riot act and then you leave it there. We need the action. Was after county secretary, was it written down so that it is implementable, so that they can refer to a particular circular, Chair? If you can give us that comfort, then we can move to the next action. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Chair. I think the frustration that we find ourselves in is that there is a recommendation by the committee that the governor should undertake administrative action. Now, the only thing that this committee is asking for is just evidence of that action. That, yes, it is okay to reprimand, but then after reprimanding, there must be some evidence to show that action was taken against the officers. Why? Because these people failed to provide documents against the law. But when they are pushed a bit, the documents somehow appear. I mean, to me, that would even look like sabotage. And if they realize that the only thing that the governor can do is just tell us, you guys, you did a bad thing, but it's okay, you have provided the documents, then it gets even worse. So what evidence is there that there was a reprimand? And if it is not there, then just say it is not there, Chair. So we don't belabor this point.
And Chair, apologies are parliamentary word. You can just apologize, then we move on to other issues.
Because the manner in which we respond to this will guide how we deal with the other issues. Remember, I said at the beginning that today we are dealing with the recommendations of the committee following the report that we tabled on 27th of March. So we must go back to that recommendation and ask ourselves that, did you do what the House resolved that you should do? In this case, the House resolved that you should take administrative action. Now, you should tell us whether that action was taken. But if action is taken in an executive role, it must be in writing.
I'm sure that the action must have been taken. That's why AOG is saying that he...
Order, Chair. Point of order.
The OAG is only responding to the availability of documents. The Senate is concerned about non-availability of the documents during the audit. When they become available after the audit, they could be cooked. And that would be another offense.
And in addition, Chair, if you say they might have, Governor, you are the governor of Kisii, you are the chief executive officer. When some critical decisions like administrative action are taken, you should be aware, unlike the presidency, the executive powers rest with the governor. And therefore, if there is any action that should have been taken, don't worry about your senator. I can see you are glancing at him. Don't worry about him. The issue I'm talking about is whether executive and governor, if you have written, just even if you didn't file then, if you have it with the officers, they can just give us, we give you, you are been a seasoned parliamentarian, you table, and then we go and review and come back to you. If it was not done, then you can apologize, we move to other issues, Governor.
Chair, for that document, I'll ask that we may provide it as and when available. Given there must have been, I want to say that. They could have not acted out of just word of mouth. Therefore, Chairman, I want to say that I apologize. Sorry for this. But again, undertake that I will provide that document when it's available.
Look, Governor, we have dealt with a number of counties on this. There are counties that have come here with letters indicating designation of officers. There are counties that have come here with letters indicating warnings and reprimands. There are counties that have come here with a circular to all staff to take seriously the audit process. We cannot take it that it is somewhere and you will find it, because again it will be manufactured just to satisfy this query. I think we take great exception to that. Going forward, let's make sure that we are reading the recommendation of the committee and dealing with what the committee has recommended, over and above what the Auditor General has brought up. You brought to the attention of this committee the need to pay fidelity to Article 229. If you expect us to be faithful to that article, you must also be faithful to that article. That article requires Parliament to put in its recommendations, and once it is adopted, it requires you to respond to the recommendations of Parliament.
Agreed, Chair.
Chair, let me just add something small on that. Two things. One, I remember, Governor, that the directive or the recommendation by the committee is to the governor to take administrative action. And so it cannot be that document will be available if we get it. If it's not there, it's not there. Chair, there's something you said the other day. That administrative action, because we are here to learn, all of us are learning, that administrative action could actually even mean refresher training for your people, that they must understand the importance of providing documents when those documents are needed. That's also administrative action. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, maybe in addition, Governor, who signed off this? Are the people who signed off your financial statements? Governor, is the chair of audit committee here with us? And who signed off these financial statements? Are they here with us? The people who signed off the financial statement of this. The names are, sorry for Vincent Okioma Nyangwara. Why? He's the chief of South Finance. Is he still chief of South Finance? Just on record, kindly, Governor. You're not on record.
He is. He is.
Why is he not with us?
There is a lean team that I came with, which accompanied me.
Chair.
Saying this, let me finish just a minute, Onyonga.
I'm just giving you an addendum. I would want to know whether the officers who signed these documents are CPA accountants.
Yeah, I'm going there. I'm going there, kindly. So, Vincent Okioma Nyangwara is not here.
He's a chief officer
of finance, but he signed off the financial statements. Who is the head of accounting unit without a name, but is part number 13733? What is his name?
Is not here, too.
What is his name? It's not on.
John Nyandanyi.
John Nyandanyi. Chair, I thought we made a ruling in the morning that if none of the signatories of financial statements are not here with us, how do you proceed? This is very unique. Governor, did you absent them strategically? I thought the gentleman, there is a gentleman of public works, another gentleman I've heard. Were they important more than the people who understand these financial statements because they are more needed than the rest?
Chair, it's not that I absent them strategically, is that we are on the close of the financial year. There is a lot of, back and forth in clearing of those documentation. Yeah. And because this was a follow-up on the discussion we had, I didn't see that I was to come with them. But again, the gentlemen who are around, they have their specific questions they're going to answer here, where they are liable.
But Governor, Chair, maybe I'll need a ruling on this because you had made a ruling in the morning when CI appeared. This is a unique situation where the people who signed off financial statements are not here with us. Well, I agree, Governor, although your team is not gender balanced, well, I agree that there is issues because we are coming to the end of financial year. I agree with you. But it shows that you don't take serious the importance of this process. Because these are the people who generated your financial statements, and all of them stem in our so Chair, can as a committee give direction so that, if the people who signed this, and Governor, in any case, are you aware whether Vincent Okioma Nyangwara is an ISPAC member by any chance?
This is a chief officer. He may not be.
He doesn't. He's not an ISPAC member.
So
Nyandanyi is the only one.
Is it the guy who had international relations at our last meeting? He's still the chief officer? Finance.
Yes.
The IR guy.
Oh, yes. He's an international relations guy.
Yeah.
So he should be bridging international relations between China and Kenya. Not the chief officer. Or the British chair.
Well, those relations are international unless you want to read more than what is apparent. Members, let's make progress.
Can you rule, Chair,
we said that the clerks of Parliament, in our invitation, will make it explicit that part of the delegation accompanying the CEO should be the signatories to the financial statements, the chair of the county audit committee, as well as the secretary of the audit committee. And the secretary of the audit committee is the internal auditor, beside the chair of the public accounts committee. We want to have the right people in the room so that we can have a comprehensive conversation. So members, let's take note that whereas the OAG says that the documents have been provided, the county has not demonstrated any effort to implement the recommendation of the committee to reprimand or to take administrative action on the officers. We shall render our report and take it to the House because the Public Audit Act says that anyone who fails to implement the recommendations of the committee without providing a good cause I think there's a way it's framed. Does it say he commits an offense or can be found to be in contempt of parliament, and the committee may propose certain administrative action? Actually, that's where the law gives us the power as parliament to make HR-related decisions. You fail to take, and I think it's important to read that provision. Mark Gashanja had read it the other day. Malcolm.
Chair, as Malcolm reads, I think you were busy consulting. The governor was on record to apologize, so you can factor in before making that ruling. Because he apologized for that oversight, so that you add other rule. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, proceed. Read that provision.
The chair will read implementation, section 53 of the Public Audit Act, implementation of reports by an accounting officer. Subsection 1, the relevant accounting officer of a state organ or public entity shall within 3 months after Parliament has considered and made recommendations on the audit report, A, take the relevant steps to implement the recommendations of Parliament on the report of the Auditor General, or B, give explanations in writing to the Parliament on why the report has not been acted upon. Subsection 2, failure to comply with the provisions of subsection 1, the accounting officer shall be in contempt of Parliament or County Assembly, and upon determination by Parliament or relevant County Assembly, Parliament or the relevant County Assembly may recommend administrative sanctions such as removal of the accounting officer, reduction in rank, among others.
I think when we are doing a report, we shall refer to that provision of the law and make the necessary recommendation.
Chair, because we are still within the 3 months, and given that the governor could still be ready to render some administrative action, is it then possible to give them some few days to act, or at the lapse of before we do the report writing? Or if they don't within the 3 months, then we take that part, that direction we take.
Chair, point of order. He has already pronounced himself.
I think, honorable members, let's refer to that provision. We can have this conversation when you're making our recommendations to the House. Governor?
Chair, again, I want to agree with what Senator Maluma just mentioned.
No, if you are reopening my ruling, then that will not be allowed.
Chair is not opening.
I think let's leave it at that point.
Yes, I wanted to inform you that, again, as we are appearing before you, we're within the 3 months that you gave us. Therefore, if I will indulge you, that if it's possible, there any other
Point of order, Chair, the governor does not have power to indulge you. Is that
Governor, these are very small matter. We have much bigger issues in this report. Let's leave that matter where it is. It is within, not after. So within could mean the first day, or it could mean the last day. And in any case, our resolution was made on 27th of March. Even if you are talking of after 3 months, you'll remain with only 3 or 4 days to get there. So let's leave this matter to the wisdom of the committee so that we deal with far weightier issues on this report. OAG, the third issue that we're taking off.
Chair, that's page 27, issue number 32. Delayed alteration and renovation to the governor's office at Old Municipal Building. Again, this is complete. We have seen the completion certificate. The building is currently in use.
Same observation, Auditor General. You did not refer to our recommendation in marking the matter as closed. Is there evidence of administrative action taken against the officers?
Chair, no, there is no evidence in terms of administrative action that has been taken.
Governor, despite provision of the documents, how did you deal with the delayed submission of documentation as per our committee recommendation?
Chair, again, is the same approach. I want to say that, again, I will apologize on the point of not providing documentation showing that there was an action, administrative action taken to my people. But I want to say they are there.
So, OAG, the work is complete. At least as far as effectiveness is concerned, we can tick.
Yes, Chair.
So
the work is complete.
So the issue could just be the lawfulness aspect.
the delay part of it. That's what the audit has really raised. Is the project has been delayed.
Yeah,
that's
part of the lawfulness, because if the Public Audit Act requires the entity to do something and they don't do, so you can say you have ticked it for effectiveness, but not necessarily for lawfulness. You are required to report on effectiveness and lawfulness of public expenditure. Delayed alteration and renovation could point to both. But now you are telling us it is complete. So it is effective. There is value for money.
Yes.
But lawfulness, there is some breach of the law somewhere, because the documentation was not provided when required as per the Public Audit Act. Are we on the same page, Dr.
Yes, yes.
Fine. So we shall also deal with this as we had recommended on the other one, perhaps refer to Section 51 of the Public Audit Act, and maybe find the accounting officers to be in breach and contempt of Parliament. Next, resolve issue.
Chair, I think those are the 4 issues that have been resolved.
So those are 4.
Yeah.
So when you made your report on 31st of December, there were 64 issues. When the county appeared before us on when we sent our report to the House on 27th of March, we had 52 issues. And today, on 23rd of June, we have 48 issues outstanding. It means how many have been resolved so far? 16. We have 16 issues resolved from the initial 64 in the audit certificate to the 48 remaining here. Oji, is that the case?
Correct, Chair. That's the position.
So the question is, how do we deal with these 48 issues? Do we conduct an audit here, or we direct the Auditor General to subject them to comprehensive scrutiny in the next audit cycle? Now, in terms of best practice corporate governance, that's what usually happens, that when the entity is unable to explain something, either the committee pronounces itself and puts in place sanctions, or it allows the auditor to report on them in the next audit cycle as prior year issues. We have had a lengthy discussion as a committee, and we have generally resolved that most of these unresolved issues should form part of the next audit cycle. However, there are certain issues that are so significant that we must pay attention to them, even if they are still going to be referred to the next audit cycle. And I think the elephant in the room is a wage bill. So, Auditor General, let's go to your finding on the wage bill, and then let's see how the county has responded and what measures are being taken to deal with that.
Small request, Chair.
Yes, Senator.
If you go to the report on the Senate County Public Accounts Committee on their report, the basis that gave the qualified opinion, I would really wish to you that we follow this structure, because you have each and every item which has been raised, and those which have been answered, I think you've talked about them. Those you are not, we then run through them. If there is no explanation and all that, then we make the recommendations. In other words, I feel like we are scattering too much all over the place, and yet we have a report here which has been given by the Auditor General on each and every item. I'd rather we go through each and every item according to your recommendations in terms of the ones which are critical, but the ones which you're feeling that the issues can be discussed later after he has done an extra audit, then I would recommend that we look at it that way. I don't know what you feel about it.
I understand where the Senator is coming from, but this particular year we did things a bit differently. Because traditionally, what you have suggested is what we have always done. Because it's the first time we are getting the responses of the county on the issues raised by the Auditor General. Now, this year, and I'd explained it earlier, that whatever we did this year does not seem to deliver value. We must change the system in the next year. This year, we allowed self-reporting by the entities. We allowed them to send written responses. Then we analyzed the written responses and made recommendations. And then the House agreed with our recommendations. Today, we want to find out whether our recommendations were implemented. Already, the Auditor General has done an assessment. So, for example, on unexplained voided transactions, the OAG has told us it has not been addressed.
Chair, I'm with you. So now you are okay.
Yes.
Now I'm where you are.
So in the past, we would go to the issue and open it up and go to the supporting schedules and perhaps do an audit. We realized that it was not the best use of this committee. So I just want to persuade you that whatever we have here has already been processed and taken to the House. And the auditor has done a verification. If the auditor says it is not addressed, I do not think that there's any convincing that the governor can do to tell us that it is addressed. So the remaining 48 issues remain unresolved and to be carried in the subsequent audit. But there is an issue which recurs, I think it's in 4, 5, 6, 7 different paragraphs. Compensation of employees, irregular recruitment, wage bill, and lack of fiscal responsibility. I think we owe the people of Kisii an explanation as to why your wage bill is at 68%. The rest of the transactional issues, interest, lack of documents, unsupported expenditure, if the auditor says it is unsupported, it is unsupported. There's nothing we can do about it. And when we're writing our report, we will just make recommendations for investigations and prosecution.
And for
Senator
the
Maruma.
comfort of the senator, if an issue is not addressed, then in the next audit report, it would appear well enumerated to the end, so it will not get lost.
I am actually agreeing with you. In other words, I had not got when we had the pre-meeting, chairman said that whatever that has already been concluded, we leave it alone. So my suggestion is proceed, sir.
Correct.
I am comfortable.
And just to buttress this, I know we have been in this committee. In the past, the auditor used to have just one paragraph saying prior year issues. We have agreed with the auditor that all these 48 must appear in the next audit report. In fact, we'll have a very long audit report because it will have prior year issues outstanding plus the issues that are recurring in the subsequent year. Members, are we on the same page? Governor, are we aligned, or you want us to go the route of counting cents and coins?
I think we're in agreement, Chairman.
Fine. So why don't we look at the issue of wage bill, that finding, because it's going to bring together a number of other related issues. Auditor General, what was your observation on wage bill?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is paragraph 2 of non-compliance with the fiscal responsibility principles. 2.1 was development expenditure, but 2.2 is wage bill. The statement of the receipt and the payments reflect a compensation of the employees amounting to Kenya shilling 5,647,519,403, representing 68% of the county executive total revenue for the year of Kenya shilling 8,284,558,775. This was contrary to Regulation 25(1) and A of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulation 2015, which provide that the county government expenditures on the wage bill and the benefits shall not exceed that 5% of the county government's total revenue. In the circumstances, the management was in breach of the law.
Clerk of the Senate, what was our recommendation?
Thank you, Chair. The first recommendation was that the management should strictly adhere to the provisions of paragraph 25, 1B of the PFM County Government Regulations 2015, which stipulates that the county wage bill shall not exceed 35% of the county's total revenue. And recommendation number 2 was that the county executive puts in place measures to enhance its own source revenue collection to address the high wage bill gap. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, what action have you taken?
Chair, as I will read the action that you have taken, but bearing in mind, Mr. Chairman, that this is a problem, it's a perennial problem that we have found in office, and we are trying gradually to see how we sort it out. Earlier, we were discussing about what we have addressed on issues of wage bill on ECD teachers. You realize that we are talking about minimum wage, where we are earning 12,000. Therefore, now the wage bill has to go up.
Governor, it's a good explanation, but let's start by looking at your response on record, and then after that you can make the explanation.
Chair, what we have done is the county government.
It's on page what of your response?
Page 8 of 46.
Okay, members, I hope you are there. You may proceed.
Chairman, the county government to put measures to curb the increase of wage bill. The county government aimed to increase its own source revenue and diversify revenue inflows, including funds from alcoholic fund, facility improvement fund in the forward budget. This was not there before. We were not declaring that money. But now, going forward, we have factored in the forward budget, Mr. Chairman.
So, Governor, you have recited what we recommended. What we needed was your action, your demonstrable action. And this is not a matter that is new to us, because we have previously invited you to discuss the issue of employees. You are on public record. We take judicial notice that you made some very dramatic, you took some very dramatic action upon assumption of office on this matter. And I think many people thought that it was the right thing to do. Now the question is whether it is delivering the right results. So we would have expected that we'll get more of what have you done. You told us about a task force. You told us about frustrations with the Public Service Board. At our last meeting here, you didn't have a substantive chair and a secretary to the County Public Service Board. You know, specific, measurable, realistic and time-bound action. What you are put here, or what your officers are put here, is a political statement.
Chair, it could not be a political because we have already factored in, especially the FIF fund into forward budget, which was not the case, Mr. Chairman. We have brought in the level 5 hospital, which was not being, which was not there before. We have brought it into the forward budget again. Chair, the question of the chairman, the secretary of the board, we have them in place, actually they're in the office. But Mr. Chairman, out of the audits, yes, which we pronounce ourselves, I want to indicate clearly, a number of people who, were moved from the payroll. But that one doesn't mean that that figure was to come down, because again, what happened is that we enhanced improvement of the salaries of the ECD teachers, who are totalizing to 900 of them. There may be no much significant figures that you'll be able to see there, but we have been able to, because we have curbed issues of employment, as it were. But Mr. Chairman, I want to just to let you know that this percentage may go to 73 or 74.
Now, you can't sit in the Senate and tell us that all the money we are fighting for, because you know the fight we are putting up, that when it lands in Kisii, the governor is promising that 73% of it is going to go to salaries. That we cannot take without challenge.
Chair.
Now, Governor, the problem you have is that you have very good oral explanations, but there is nothing on record. Later on, when you're writing our report, it is this brief statement that we'll be referring to. Why can't you put those measures in writing to guide the Senate? You have said the county government to put in measures to curb the increase of wage bill. What are the measures? can they be listed? Can they be proven? When you explain, you tell them, but on paper, there is nothing. I hope you're understanding my frustration, that your explanation is different from what's on paper.
Chair, I don't know how you get it, and this is important. Agree with you to some extent, but when we just indicated there that we have brought in the issues of the FIF account, which was not there before, we have increased our own source revenue. That part of the answers, Mr. Chairman. But a bit of this, because if you asked and you brought.
So by so doing, you have moved from 60% to what percentage? Because Auditor General, you must also give us guidance. This ratio is not 60%. It is 68%. It's very important that you go on record to amend your finding. Please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. In terms of the records, we are able to do the computation, and the actual percentage is 68.
If you brought in the on-source revenue, which the governor says is supposed to help him, the on-source revenue was 501 million.
And actually announcing bringing in the FIF account and the KTRH.
So if you did that, if we just dealt with what is before us, 501, it's still at 64%. So you should tell us that by bringing in the other funds, now your ratio has moved from 68 to 35. That's for you to tell the Senate.
Chair, we may not get to that 5. I want to promise the Senate.
No, but what have the measures achieved? Because you are threatening that it will go to 78. You can't have measures that increase the percentage.
Chair.
We could benefit from Senator Nyonka first.
Thank you, Chair. Your Excellency, Governor Simbarati, the matter we are discussing here is, I think, Chair, different from what the Governor is saying. I don't know whether all of you are carefully looking at what this issue is. The issue is not whether there is money for the Governor to employ people either by increasing their promotional wages or whatever it is. The question that you are discussing, and I think, Chair, you've not been clear on this one. Governor, the issue we are dealing with is this. Have you employed people since you became Governor beyond the level that the government allows for you to employ? I would have been very comfortable for you to explain to this committee that when you came in as Governor, you find the percentage of wage bill which relevant to the expenditure on development and vis-a-vis your wages for the county employees of Kisii County. What this report shows is that you've actually increased the employing of workers in Kisii County, and their wages have increased beyond the original figure, which was at 41%, and now you are at 68%. That is point number one. You've rationalized by saying, according to you, you have the money to pay for the salaries. That's not what we are asking. Where is your money for development? The FIF account and all the money that you are bringing in here, this is supposed to be development money. It's only that because if you assume that you're going to employ nurses, then the FIF allows you to use these resources to actually employ nurses. The people that you have compensated on the salaries are the ECD teachers. So what this committee, I believe, is trying to ask you to do is this. Have you increased the number of people that you've employed since 2 years ago? That's number one. Number two, if you continue with the other same issue, it is also related, then the auditors came up and said you have been underpaying staff, which you have sorted out, and I'm very, very happy. I actually want to thank you. But then as you continue, you then reach a stage where, Chair, on page 11 of 43, you are irregularly employing people within the county government, and this could have been either your public service board or your officers. The question then anybody would ask is this the case? and how many people have you employed, and when did you employ them, and what are they earning? That is what I would want you to explain to this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Take note of the questions.
Chair.
Senator Chirage, then Senator Wambua.
Governor, note that what we are querying here is an affront to the law. The law says you should not go beyond 35%, but you are in 68%. So our concern is the cure of the law is the legal redress. What have you taken steps that will not violate this law? Number two, Governor, Nairobi, which receives the most share, and I'm happy you have been a member of parliament of Dagoretti North, and of course you are familiar with Nairobi. Their wage bill is at 56%. What justification would you give that Kisii, which receives more lower revenue, is being turned to Employment Bureau through 68%? Number three, Governor, the last time you appeared, you said the secretary to the County Public Service Board of Kisii and chairman of Kisii County Public Service Board were not in office. Who participated in putting in place this number of workers? And finally, Governor, we saw you dramatically parading what you termed then as ghost workers, and you went ahead and showed that they were drivers, but they were no vehicles. What became of that process? Do you have a report that was done by your executive or an audit to show whether there was an affront? Because then it was 41%, but now we are discussing at 68%. So was there any report that human resource audit was either done by your office or the county public service? What became of it? Let me just a simple, what became of it after in Kisii Stadium, you put everybody, you were telling the country, there is a car, but it has 4 or 3 drivers. What became of it? And finally, since you became the governor, and I was among the people we used to take lunch at Bunge restaurant, and we used to pray for you daily, how many people have you employed as a governor, Simba Aradi? Leave alone, I have heard you when you're answering, you're saying it was there. Leave alone the issue of the former governor Ongwae. How many people have you hired outside your personal staff? I know the law allows you to get a PA, to get advisors, to get CEC, because those ones don't have, they expire with the governor. So how many? And in this, so that I don't need to come back, the fifth question, in this through the chair, how many are casuals and how many are being transited to PNP? Marking you governor, you know there is a sticky issue of universal health coverage. So I want to thank you for being honest, because if you observed the UHC workers, then you'll reach 78%, as you have said. So thank you for being honest with that. But how many are casuals and how many are being transited to PNP, and whether all of them are paid either through payment voucher or IPPD? I submit here and I thank you.
Thank you. You have asked all the questions, but Senator Wambua still has one.
I don't know what to ask now, Chair, but I think the question, no, it's okay, no problem. So, there are 2 issues here. Let me first go on, the governor is consulting, so I need, okay, that's fine. So let it go on record from you, Governor, that is actually true that when you came in, you found 41%, and then you pushed it to 68%. I'll tell you this. During our briefing, everybody here, including myself, was shocked that actually you could have a county that spends 68% of its revenue paying salaries. Secondly, if you're already coming in at 41%, frankly speaking, you have to be within the law. Then just tells you one thing: you cannot even employ one person. You should be looking for ways of either increasing your revenue base or reducing the number of staff. So what have you done? if you found at 41, what did you do to comply with that 5%? And lastly, I see one of the actions that you are making reference to is you are bringing in the FIF and the alcoholic fund. My question would be, how much money are you going to be getting from KTRH? And what will be the impact of that revenue to your base? And how will that help you in reducing the wage bill towards 35%? I thank you, Chair.
Finally, the Vice Chair.
Yeah, it's just the same question that is being canvassed, because then the governor has indicated that the county government to put in place measures to curb the increase in wage bill, and you have enumerated them here. Now, how do you want us to treat this paragraph? Because in your own statement, you are saying the wage bill is likely to go up to 43%. Do we expurge this paragraph?
43 or 78?
He's saying 73. I had 73.
73. 78.
78.
Yeah.
So do you want us to expurge this, that these measures, after all, are not fashioned to reduce the wage bill? And number two, when it goes to 78, really, and you have 11% maybe given by Kara to the county assembly, what do you remain with for development? And out of these measures, Chair, why aren't we seeing something to do with staff rationalization? Or does it mean the staff that were inherited from the former local authorities are not part of this problem?
Senator Gatai.
Thank you, Chair. My good friend Governor Ratti started on a very high note. I remember Governor Ratti was weeding out ghost workers in Kisii County. It was all over the news. I don't know. We expected the wage bill to be connected, to be within the standards. So I don't know what happened, that exercise that you really undertook never materialized, because you were doing very well those times when you were all over trying to parading cars and trying to end counties drivers and so forth. So was that an exercise in futility, or was it something that was supposed to be reasonable?
Okay, Governor, you may respond, also taking into account that on 22nd of May 2023, at the KICC Shimba Hill Hall, we had a detailed conversation on this particular matter, where you told us about the task forces and the measures that you are taking. And I would have really expected that the conversation we had in 2023 would form part of the update you are giving us on measures taken. But many questions have been asked by members. Please proceed, starting with Senator Nyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, I don't know, from the onset I wanted to know, where did you get your figures of 41? Who informed you? That must have questioned the pre-meeting. I want to say I got the wage bill at 68. I've not moved from 68. Nothing far from the truth. Chairman, the only people that I've employed, the people I've employed directly, and it's not even employment, it's replacement, is 48 people. Those are chief officers, CCs, and advisors. I've not employed anybody.
Point of order, Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
So when the governor says he found it at 68 and still 68, yet because I had to say he has employed 48, don't you think it changes the dynamics?
Chair, I want Senator Chergei to get it very clear that I've not employed. The only thing I've done is replacing the people that I found, those positions which were occupied then, chief officers and CCs. Mr. Chairman, the only thing I've done, the promotion, the people who are due for promotion, yes, they have been promoted. Mr. Chairman, the people who are being paid 12,000, they are the only people who have been put into permanent and pensionable, and they are earning the 25,000. Chair, the story of 41, somebody must be doing his own politics, wherever from I
think for 41, let us go by the numbers. We'll be able to go to the financial statements. We will see what the numbers reflect. But what the numbers reflect here is that last year you were at 62%, and then this year you're at 68%. Those are the numbers in your financial statement. So figures don't lie.
Chair, again, I want to say clearly, I've not employed. I've only done replacement, and that's all. Chair, the only anticipation that I want to make here is that I'm going to employ, yes. Hospitals, they don't have nurses. They don't have clinicians. They don't have doctors. What I've factored in the budget, I'm going to employ close to 300 nurses. We lack around 700. I'll do a half. ECD teachers, Mr. Chairman, as I'm just saying, parents, they have employed on their own to bridge the gap. Therefore, I'm going again to employ around 200 teachers. That's the only people that I may bring into the service. As at the moment, Mr. Chairman, I've not employed even one person. Other than my staff, again, the former governor had that staff, Mr. Chairman, the CCs, chief officers, advisors, those are the people who are in the office. And I wanted to make it very clear on that point.
Could you,
allow me.
Okay, Senator Wambua, then.
Allow me, because Chair, I will be asking for permission to exit. But before I do that, so what I'm hearing from a governor is that in this coming financial year, he will be recruiting around 500 people. If you're already at 68, then only then the county government knows where that will leave the wage bill. Unless then they will be employing and at the same time sacking. I don't know. The governor, this is a serious issue. I don't know what. I was actually, before you came in, and that's a point that I'll make, and then I will exit. I was wondering, how do county governments then deal with these things? You have this number of people who are already above the threshold, but you have to build new hospitals, which you need doctors. You have to build new ECD centers, which will need teachers. You establish new water projects, who will need people to man. So what are you doing? It's your challenge. You are the governor, you are the CEO. That 500, where will it leave you?
Senator Chiraki?
In addition, Governor, you know it's a learning curve, and you know you are a man I have tremendous respect for, and you are my good friend. Governor, looking at your, and I really wondered who is the receiver of revenue, because
Chair, ask Governor Wambua, of course, Senator Wambua not to leave just for the response that I will give. So
which version are you going with, Governor or Senator?
Or Senator.
Okay,
let me quickly
prosecute quickly so that the governor may respond.
You know, Governor, they say numbers don't lie, other things can lie. You said in your answer that your own source of revenue had improved. According to your receiver of revenue in your own chair, in the financial year 2023-2024, you collected 415 million. In this year under consideration, you collected 502.4 million. That's an increment of 85 million. If you go to your financial statement, which Vincent Nyangwara and Nyandiani signed, is compensation of employees. In 2022-2023, it was 5.0 billion. In 2023-2024, there was an increment of 600 million. Governor, that's not a small number. It means the number of people that gather for this compensation was about 600 million. So even if there is an increment of 6%, this is too huge number, Chair. So the justification is, when you want to go with the aspect of improving on source revenue, you only increase 85 million. Vis-a-vis 600 million, which he was trying to bridge the gap by saying I have improved on my own source revenue, to gap for 600 million, which was for compensation of employees within the year under. So, Governor, what is the silver bullet? That is what you are just looking for. Because on source revenue, and maybe Salat, what is the revenue potential through the chair under CRA of Kisii County? Thank you, Chair.
Through the church, according to CRA, the revenue potential for Kisii County is estimated as 1.5 billion. So they are collecting a third of their revenue potential.
We'll come to that because I have some observations on that on the ROR. But Senator,
very, very brief. The point I wanted to make is that I'm actually in the dark. I wish I had a way of knowing. Chair, I would wish Governor Ivy Khan to come out and explain. He conducted 2 audits. One was done by some team from the Public Service Commission or something. The second audit was done by, I think, a team that he appointed or something. As I sit here as the Senator of Kisii County, I actually do not know even the total number of employees that the county government has employed up to now. So even when Governor is telling me that according to him, he only employed 47 individuals, I would want to make a recommendation, Chair, through your committee, that that report is tabled so that then once Governor explains that he has not employed and the numbers are known, then we shelve that matter. Otherwise, without that audit, the matter stayed standing over generally.
Okay, Governor.
Chair, let me answer Senator Wambua. The dilemma we are in is the dilemma that we are staring at, all of us. I found an office at 67 or 68, as it were. Another story far from, it's not far from the truth, is that we found ourselves there. Development, it was below 18, Mr. Chairman. That's how things are. Even as we are working hard to do development, we could not. And Mr. Chair, you know the problem? The problem is that all the people who are employed, they are those lower cadres, not technical team. Doctors, they were not employed, nurses. Therefore, we have more drivers. We were not doing a cosmetic dress in the stadium. Those are real stories. We went ahead, Mr. Chairman, we did the audit on certificates, fixed certificates. A number of people have gone home. Today we were at IPEC. I thank that the Deputy President said they followed what Kisii did on verification of pending bills and on certificates. Chairman, is a tall order, but we are there. We are trying to limit ourselves to the resources that we have. And I want to repeat myself on answer here. I've not employed more than 48 people directly, and not even employment, Mr. Chairman, replacing those who are holding office. The only employment I'm intending to do is for the nurses and the teachers. Actually, they're close to 500. That's how serious I am. I can't preach of the water and drink the wine as it could be.
You know, Governor, we must draw the line. There are things you can do as a chief executive officer, tactical and operational decisions. It is not for the Senate to get into that. Ours is at the strategic and policy level. The law requires you to be at 35, you are at 68. Double. I mean, there is sometimes a level of tolerance. If you are at 37, I would say, this is okay, you're a work in progress. If you are at 40, we would say, fine, we believe if you grow your revenue base, it's going to change. But you're at 68, threatening to go to 78. Threatening to go to 73. Why should the Senate continue sending money to Kisii? Especially if that money is going to a black hole. We are not questioning, and perhaps I don't want to dwell on that. Of course, I'll give it a benefit of doubt. The people you hired when you got to office. But are you sure of the people you found in office are actual workers? You did an exercise, but that exercise is not yielding the results. You see, that's our frustration. You did a much publicized exercise. Has that exercise resulted in any reduction by a percentage or two of your wage bill?
Chair, I want to believe with the record we have, there could have been a reduction. But that reduction again, you know, we are talking of underpaying, and we must be able to get to the minimum wage bill threshold.
Governor, is your county secretary in the room?
No, he's not.
County secretary?
He's not in.
CEC, finance?
Yes.
CEC, finance.
I am in, Chair.
The measures that the governor took under his political and strategic direction, what has been the impact on the balance sheet? Talk to us numbers. Let the governor talk policy and politics. He's giving us a lot of politics. Give us numbers. What has been the impact of the governor's policies and politics on the bottom line?
Chair, I will not be able to give you straight
Why?
that answer.
Can't you reflect on your role as CEC Finance as the person who verifies and assures that these financial statements are well rendered?
Chair, I do, and I did that, and of course the same has been done, that we had an increment of 600 as per our financial statement.
So the political and policy measures of the governor have resulted to an increase of 600 million rather than a reduction.
Yes, Chair, as per our financial statement which we conducted.
In other words, the political and policy interventions of the governor have been bure kabisa.
No, Chair.
But so demonstrate to us, as a person who's responsible for these numbers, a relationship between those policy and political initiatives and the financials. Chairman, there has to be a relationship, either proportional or inverse.
Chairman, let me say this, that for these figures, we can ask time to provide all those figures that you're asking for. But more remedies we are putting in places to control the resources as they were, increase our own source revenue. I'm happy is talking about 1.5.
Chair, on a point of order, to be fair, governor numbers don't lie. You only raise 85 million.
No.
You are a receiver of revenue. And you are increasing 600. And in fact, Chair, I have gone through the report that of the OAG. The total number of staff in Kisii is 5,570 employees. So what is the staff establishment based on that also in Kisii County? Vis-a-vis your own, even is the receiver through the chair is RORE a receiver of revenue? Because you have only increased 85 million, you want to hire 500, it is good to give, and I hope you'll give a number of young people those jobs, the nurses and EC teachers, which is good. But our argument is that this increment of 600 million, there is no principality and justification to say, and you can see your CEC of finance, who should be assisting, is eating mudomo yake. Anakula mdomo hapa. And you are comfortable sitting with him. In fact, you should sit far from that gentleman. It will lead you to a lot of problems. So this staff establishment of 55, 70, what is the staff? And that is why, Chair, at the beginning, I asked, now that the Vice Chair is chairing, I asked, where is the county secretary? Because if your county secretary was here, in fact, you would have been safer with county secretary than this gentleman. Because unless they fear you, Governor, do these people fear you?
That governor can answer.
Chair, through the chair, because if they are fearful in answering our questions, then it means they are fearing you.
No, Chair. I don't. That's right, Chair. Let me answer the questions that have been asked. Yeah.
Okay, let's allow the Vice Chair just to, maybe he might help clarify things.
You can answer both. What we are wondering as a committee is there's an exercise that you did ostensibly to do some staff rationalization. How many people or employees dropped off as a result of them being ghost workers, as a result of them not having the requisite qualifications? How many dropped off, and what was the wage implication in terms of reduction? The other thing that you did was making sure that you pay the employees as per the regulations. What was the impact on the wage? Is it the 600 million that we are seeing? We need those numbers, really, we need them. Otherwise, then when you're counting people and dropping them off, and then the wage bill is going up, the numbers don't add.
Chair, and in addition, when you look at the audit report, Governor, you didn't have a staff establishment. So as you answer that on myself and Vice Chair, have you put in place approved staff establishment of that 55, 70 employees, which is consuming around 68% of equitable share revenue that we are sending? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I want to say that the staff establishment we have put it in place as we are talking at the moment. Therefore, as and when is required, we will definitely give it. Again, Mr. Chairman, on the numbers that of the people.
Chair, on a point of order, this staff establishment, Governor, in our committee recommendation, you have not provided evidence of the same. Is it here with us?
I'm saying it's going to be provided, Chairman, and it could not be inside
So
there.
this bundle that is looking so beautiful and well marked, it is not here.
No, there is more information inside that than
Or
that
Governor,
one.
you thought senators are busy, they can't read?
No. You see, there is more information there, Chairman. Senator Stergey, there is more information, more materials inside there other than that one, which is missing again.
But Governor, through the chair, we are discussing 68% of your revenue. This is a so serious matter that it should have been priority by even giving us, through the chair, evidence of staff approved